Shalom. Shalom and welcome. Welcome to the White Roads Family Channel. If you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Symmanayah. And these are the words I'm compelled to present before an awakening set-apart nation. To those that are drawn by the Almighty Father, Yahuah, to Yahusha Mashiach, as it is written in John 6:44. You see, my brothers and sisters, the thunderous voice of the Almighty Father came to us, manifest before us, walked among us. His word was manifest before us. His word was manifest before us in the name Yahusha. So when we say no one can come unto the Father except by Yahusha, they're saying except by his word. For his word, Yahusha embodies his word. And many of us in these final days will come to understand the dynamics of our prayer, our communication, and why Yahusha is the mediator, the Mashiach, our Messiah. We will grow to understand what all that means in the final days. For in the final Exodus that is to come, it is important that there is unity among Yashar'al. And there is much to learn, many corrections to witness and adhere to those who will fulfill the final Exodus and other things regarding being strong and set-apartness. Before I get into this series any further, I want to say that the views expressed in these messages do not necessarily reflect the views of the owners, managers, and or shareholders of this media platform. With that said, let's get started. The final Exodus, Countdown 2023. This is a series where you will see at the bottom of the screen, if you're watching the video, 3 end-time promises. 3 end-time promises. One is discipline, vengeance is another, wrath is another. These things are ongoing. These things have been promised by the Almighty Father. Many of us look at discipline, not realizing it's dealing with structure and order. Not realizing it is the binding force for bringing us close together as a set-apart nation, as the children of Yahuah, as the bride of Mashiach, his word, Yahusha. There's no Trinity. What I want to talk about here, my brothers and sisters, is in these final days, we must realize that how we witness what's going to happen regarding discipline, vengeance, and wrath will be determined by our position of obedience to the Almighty Father. You see, some will give you the false sense of security that we're going to be tucked away somewhere safely. Some will be gathered to a safe place. But understand this, O Yashar'al, that it is written that he reigns on the just and the unjust, on the righteous and on the wicked. His word goes forth. And when destruction comes, he's not going to wait till every last child of his is out of the way before destruction hit. We are told he who seeks to gain his life will lose it, but he who loses his life for Yahusha's name will find it. We will understand what that means in these coming days. My brothers and sisters, there's a lot of people talking about what's happening, what's going to happen and everything, but there's not much talk of what we should be doing. Sure, some say unity, but they put a big if and maybe. I say to you that the promises made by the Almighty Father will indeed yield completion and success. And there would be no room for ifs and maybes. For there are those he has ordered, he has chosen for his esteem to fulfill all that has been written. In this particular installment of Endtime Promises, Part 3, I want to bring your attention to the word Examine and Discern Teachings. Examine and Discern Teachings. Now, I want to ask your patience, my brothers and sisters, because I'm going to share something with you, and I don't want you to lose track that the core purpose of this segment is being able to examine and discern the teachings that's going forth. There are so many conflicting teachings, so many conflicting doctrines, so much mass confusion. Wickedness is enlarging. But trust this, that the Almighty One will discipline, will refine, will bring his children to reflect his ways, to demonstrate obedience to his laws and statutes, his 10 commandments, his living instructions, his living Torah, which means instructions, my brothers and sisters. We will understand that there is so much more beyond the black and white text from Genesis to Revelation. So much more beyond the text is an overflowing fountain of words from Mashiach Yahusha's spirit, making the scriptures alive and bringing even so much more to our attention. Let me give you an example why it's so important to examine and discern teachings. If we read and search the scriptures, we'll see that in the beginning, that the Almighty Yahuah created everything, all that was created. All and everything. And we will discover in searching the scriptures that Yahuah is light. He is light. So it begins with he that is light, who created the canvas of darkness, who created the sun, the moon, the stars, and all that was created. And if you look in Revelation, you will see where it is written, there is no need for the sun or the moon, for Yahuah is light. I want to put this onus on you, my brothers and sisters. And it's important for you to search the scriptures. So if you believe Yahuah is the Alpha and Omega, the Aleph and the Tav, the beginning and the end, it began with light, it ends with light. Let me give you an example why teachings are so important. The way we've been taught to comprehend our literary skills, our ability to understand and comprehend what we read, it differs with each individual. This is why some people can read a passage and someone can read the same passage and get something totally different and conflicting. Now, if you get something different, but it joins hand, that's part of the fountain of the everlasting waters from Yahuah. Words that can connect, build, reinforce. But if they conflict to where the two cannot exist, something is wrong. This is why it says the letter kills, but the spirit makes alive. So many people say, show me the script, show me the script. But the comprehension levels differ. Let me give you one example. When it comes to Shabbat, first let me tell you this. Shabbat means 7. That's it, 7. But to the set-apart children of Yahuah, it is the 7th day that we rest. But the word Shabbat in itself means 7. Different language might say Sabado, Sabadi, but Shabbat means 7. Now look in the mirror, if you can. If you are blind, completely blind, picture yourself. Pay attention to those that are around you. Now remember this. We didn't have street lights. We did not have electricity as we know it back in those days. We did not have lamps. We may have had candles or trees, but to light them at night would mean consuming the trees. So I say to you, O Yashar'al, when Yahuah created Adam and Eve, when he charged them with managing the garden, were they designed to plant the seeds, to till the garden, to take care of the garden in darkness? Or did they receive assignments that required work during daylight hours? Look around even to this day. The majority of individuals on this planet, when they work in some type of light. Daylight mostly. And those who work in these shifts that are outside of daylight, they're using electricity. They need light. So imagine given the routine to work and all you had was the natural lights. You would work from morning until the light dissipates and darkness comes. And then the next morning, you would work again till darkness come. That's a routine of Yashar'al. Every crack of daylight begins a day. People will take you to the scripture in Genesis, and I'm talking about comprehension, because they'll read where it says, there was morning, there was evening, there was a day. And they forget the scriptures before they even got to that part. They forget so quickly that it began with Yahuah, who is light. Then there was darkness. Then there was morning, a day. Comprehension, my brothers and sisters, omitting passages, disregarding the process from beginning to end. It is written that Yahuah changes not. And we will learn that it began with light and it will end with light. I want you to search the scriptures, and you'll see in Revelation where it says there's no need of the sun or the moon because Yahuah's brilliance, his light. Why is this important, O Yashar'al? This final exodus is going to require us to pay attention to timing and movement. And if you're starting to move and you'll stop at the crack of day in that seventh routine, that would be fine to rest. But if you stop to rest that Friday evening, you'll find yourself the difference between that Friday when it turns dark and that morning. Those are hours where you sitting still thinking you're supposed to be resting. You'll get left behind in more ways than many. You'll miss out. If you think that it's just from morning to as soon as it starts to get dark, and you would stop premature, and you start back working as it starts to get dark on that seventh day, you'll miss out. You see the timing of movement. Our clocks would be off if we have all these different times. The scriptures even tell us to pray that our movement will not be during the winter or during Shabbat. Yashar'al, this segment is not centered around when the day begins and when it ends. That's the beginning of a point I want to bring to you as I go through the necessary things that makes it important for us to be able to examine and discern teachings. If we don't know how to vet and don't know how to examine, we're going to find ourselves, as we see now, among compromising practices, teachings, and orders. Let me continue, for some might say he's just ranting. If you trust just the script and the text alone, then you have what we see before us. If you trust in the spirit of Yahusha, you will understand his ways is about life. His ways is about light. So many scriptures say we are the light of the world. Light, my brothers and sisters. Why? Because light makes us able to see. Yahusha makes things that are hidden revealed by light. It's so much centered around light. We will understand why it's important to be on the same page, my brothers and sisters. Let us examine and discern all teachings. I want to read some things to you. Come with me. Let's consider these words. Isaiah 40, verse 29 to 31. It says, Isaiah 40, 29 to 31 says, he gives power to the faint, and to those who have no might, he increases strength. Even youths faint and be weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who wait on Yahuah renew their strength. They raise up the wings like eagles. They run and are not weary. They walk and do not faint. Why am I sharing this? Because sometimes it requires us to wait. Don't just believe what any teacher, any pastor, any deacon, any moray, any bishop. Don't just believe any and everything that they tell you. Search the scriptures. Search the scriptures to discern the life in the scriptures and weigh them against what is being taught, the teachings that are presented. And sometimes it requires waiting, reading more, studying more. Sometimes it requires seeking wise counsel. But wait can be for a moment, or for days, or hours or days. It can be longer. There are times to wait, and there are times the wait is not as long. Come with me to Hebrews chapter 4, verse 11 through 13. And I'm saying that so don't let somebody push you to saying you gotta take it right now. You say, well, if you don't understand, if you're not sure, there's nothing wrong with saying, okay, I hear you, but let me examine it more. Let me pray and seek to discern whether there's truth in the words you present or how you present in the scriptures. Hebrews 4, 11 to 13 reads, let us therefore do our utmost to enter into the rest, lest anyone fall after the same example of disobedience. For the word of the Almighty One is living. Living. It's not a page that you could just tear up. His word is living and working and sharper than any two-edged sword, cutting through even to the dividing of being and spirit, and of joints and marrow, and able to judge the thoughts and intentions of the heart. And there is no creature hidden from his sight, but all are naked and laid bare before the eyes of him with whom is our account. His word, living word, that is what we should trust more. That's what we should pursue to understand more. So as we read and study the scriptures, let's seek out what the living word has to say in explaining what we're reading. I want to read also John chapter 12, 39 and 40. John chapter 12, 39 through 40. It reads, because of this, they were unable to believe. Because again, Yahuah said, he has blinded their eyes. He has blinded their eyes and hardened their heart, so that they should not see with their eyes and understand with their heart, and turn, and I should heal them. You see, there's going to be times where we're trying to present a message or teachings to someone or receive someone's teachings, and they're not going to get it. Some are purposely blinded by Yahuah because of their unbelief, because of their rebellion. And when it gets to the point you say, I don't see why they can't see that, because they're intent, because of their position, because they have not been disciplined and refined to receive. This happens purposely until they are weakened and cry out unto Yahuah with the desire to discern the life in its words. Make no mistake, my brothers and sisters, end times require us to examine and discern teachings, lest we fall for so many people are doing it. So many people guard the Shabbat from nighttime to nighttime. So many people guard things that should be guarded at the wrong time, things that should be released. Yashar'al, Yashar'al. Chosen leaders will rise, and I will speak more and more on that. Come with me to 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 3 and 4. 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 3 and 4 reads, and indeed, if our good news has been veiled, it has been veiled in those who are perishing. You see, in blindness, it can lead to perishing. In rebellion, it can lead to perishing. But it says, in whom the mighty one of this age has blinded the minds of the unbelieving, so that the enlightening of the good news of the esteem of Messiah, who is the likeness of the Almighty One, does not shine on them. The rebellious, the wicked, Yashar'al or Yashar'al. There's work to be done. Let me also read these things. Consider these words, my brothers and sisters. Romans chapter 10, verse 12 through 15. Romans 10 through 15, chapter 10, verse 12 through 15 reads, because there is no distinction between Yehudi and Greek, for the same master of all is rich, to all those calling upon him. For everyone who calls on the name of Yahuwah shall be saved. How then shall they call on him in whom they have not believed? And how shall they believe in him of whom they have not heard? And how shall they hear without one proclaiming? Some translations say preaching. And how shall they proclaim if they are not sent? And it has been written, how pleasant are the feet of those who bring the good news of peace and bring the good news of the good. My brothers and sisters, there are steps and processes that leads to our maturity, that leads to our strengthening. It is important that we examine all things and seek to discern the teachings that are brought before us. A great correction is coming. Choose your side wisely, my brothers and sisters. That correction will bring unity into those who are blinded by the Almighty Father. May he have mercy on them. I want to read the following, my brothers and sisters. As I say, let us discern the components of growing in maturity. Let us consider these words in Proverbs chapter 9, verse 9 and 10. Proverbs 9, verses 9 and 10. It reads, give instruction to a wise one, and he is wiser. Teach a righteous one, and he increases in learning. It didn't say the righteous one know it all. Some people falsely accuse those who are gaining knowledge and growing in wisdom as thinking they know it all, just because they may be demonstrating symptoms and signs of one who is filled with the Spirit of Yahuwah, who is demonstrating that they are a vessel that can pour out endless water. Doesn't mean that they know it all. There are people who falsely accuse because they're too lazy to seek and discern the teachings to see whether they are correct. They take positions that they should not. They say the fear of Yahuwah is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the set-apart one is understanding. Yashar'al, my brothers and sisters. So many people are saying, I don't fear anything in these end times. So many people are putting down the word fear, but they're not qualifying. They're not specific. Some will say when they caught in wrong, instead of saying, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, or instead of repenting of it, they'll say, you know what I mean, to try to brush over the fact that they say, I don't fear anything. I don't fear nothing. No, my brothers and sisters, we should fear he who is the Almighty One. For in fearing him, we begin to get things from him that demonstrate wisdom, that brings forth knowledge and understanding. Let's also visit Proverbs 22:6. Train a child in the way he should go. Even when he is old, he turns not away from it. You see, if we are trained, we take these bodies and program them to do the things that are right. And as we seek to walk in obedience, we will not depart from the set-apart teachings that we receive from those who have been assigned to us as Yahuah worked through them, whether it be a community head, a pastor, a deacon, a bishop, moray. Yes, there are those who are obedient to the living spirit of Yahuah that comes in Yahusha's name, as it states in John 14:26. Train up a child. Teaching is important. And we're going to find that as these end times ramp up even more, we have to relearn and discover what is true versus so many erroneous teachings. Proverbs 22:17 and 18. Come with me there, O Yashar'al. Proverbs 22:17 and 18. For it reads, incline your ear and hear the words of the wise, and apply your heart to my knowledge. For they are pleasant if you guard them within you. Let all of them be ready on your lips. Let us not forget the teachings that are set apart. Let us not succumb to saying, well, everybody else or all these people can't be wrong. Those are narratives just to justify promoting continuous erroneous teachings, my brothers and sisters. Examine, discern teachings. Discern meaning let the spirit of Yahusha, who is the word of Yahuah, come to us and make known, make clear what is written. And how we receive understanding of what goes before us will make a big difference of how we navigate as his discipline well up within us, as his vengeance go before us. His wrath is exacted before us. Vengeance is the actions from the Almighty Father against those who have done harm to his children, to the innocent and set apart, obedient ones. Vengeance is mine, as it is written. Wrath is those who just blatantly fight against set-apartness with the intent to try to rule in their own way. All three of them, the actions could seem to be the same, but how we respond to them, how we recognize them, how we explain them will differ. To the set-apart ones, it would be, what do I learn in the midst of these actions that makes me closer to the Almighty Father? To the set-apart ones, they might say, okay, I might have been in the same place where he's exacting vengeance, but this body might go back to the earth, but I will forever be with the Almighty Father, as it is written. Yashar'al, my brothers and sisters, it's time to discern the true teachers, the true leaders, the true chosen ones, for they will rise up as we begin to witness those who promote erroneous and wicked teachings to try to lift themselves up. Will face discipline. Some will find themselves facing sickness, even unto death. And you may not like to hear that, but watch. A sweeping wave from the messenger of death will visit those who are obstacles in the way of what is being fulfilled in the gathering of the children of Yahuah, in the refining of his children. Yashar'al, my brothers and sisters, let us also visit Proverbs 4:19 through 27. Proverbs 4:19 through 27. For it reads, the way of the wrong is like darkness. They do not know at what they stumble. My son, listen to my words. Incline your ear to my saying. Let them not depart from your eyes. Guard them in the midst of your heart, for they are life to those who find them, and healing to all their flesh. Watch over your heart with all diligence, for out of it are the sources of life. Turn away from you a crooked mouth. Put perverse lips far from you. Perverse lips, perverse teachings, perverse ramblings. Put that away, O Yashar'al. Turn away from that crooked mouth that promote teachings that are wrong. Let your eyes look forward and your eyelids look straight before you. Consider the path of your feet, and all your ways are established. Do not turn to the right or the left. Turn your foot away from evil. You see, my brothers and sisters, if someone's tried to present, you got to always go left, you'll never go wrong. Always go right, you'll never go wrong. Or you need to get on the side of the left or go on the right. My brother and sister, it says, do not turn to the left or the right. Let your feet be established. Let your eyelids look forward. Focusing forward on what the Spirit of Yahusha is saying do. What he is ordering, how he is guiding us. We must understand that it is necessary to examine and discern teachings. Consider Philippians 1:9 through 11. Philippians 1:9 through 11. For it reads, "In this I pray that your love might extend more and more in knowledge and all discernment, for you to examine the matters that differ, in order to be sincere and not stumbling until the day of Messiah, being filled with the fruit of righteousness through Yahusha Messiah, to the esteem and praise of the Almighty One." To examine the matters, being sincere. It's not a game. These are sincere times, my brothers and sisters. Let us rise up with the maturity and discipline that is necessary to fulfill what lies ahead. Never forget, O Yashar'al, Hebrews 11:1, that says, "And belief is the substance of what is expected, the proof of what is not seen." We must learn what belief is. We must learn how to discern whether the message, the words we're receiving are from the Spirit of Yahusha or not, so that we can respond correctly. Drop down to the 6th verse, same chapter, 11th chapter of Hebrews. They say, "But without belief it is impossible to please him. For he who comes to the Almighty One has to believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of those who earnestly seek him." Yashar'al, you know, we know, if we're earnestly seeking the voice of the Almighty Father, which comes to us in Yahusha's name, referring to John 14:26. My brothers and sisters, this message might seem redundant, but I can't stress enough the need to examine and discern teachings, all teachings. And if you are uncertain, pray. Pray some more. Pray even some more. And trust and believe that he who is invisible, the Almighty Father Yahuwah, will make his statutes, his ways, his actions visible to us as he worked in us, through us, one towards another. What say you, O Yashar'al? Tired of the words? Have you stopped and ceased to finish listening to this message? I pray that's not the case. There's so much to learn about examine and discern teachings. There's so much to experience. Seek to learn how to get on the right track, where you know that you know the Almighty Father is making his words clear, making his written words. You see, his original inspired words were in the language that was original and pure. Man has tampered with the text and published different scriptures the way they see fit, leaving things out, leaving books out, changing words. But they cannot change the spirit of the one who inspired the original written words. They try to, but those who seek the Almighty Father, those who are drawn by Him, our eyes are open to see, to understand, to learn what is righteous, what is set apart. Come with me to Ephesians 5th chapter, verse 15 through 21. Hebrews 5:15 through 21. It says, see then that you walk exactly, not as unwise, but as wise, redeeming the time because the days are wicked. Don't waste your time arguing with someone that may be blinded by the Almighty Father because of their ill intents. It says, so then, do not be foolish, but understand what the desire of Yahuah is. Do not be drunk with wine, which is loose behavior, but be filled with the Spirit. The Spirit of the Almighty Father, which comes to us in Yahusha's name. The Spirit of Yahusha stirring within us, stirring our spirit, bringing our bodies into subjection to possess these earthen vessels as we should, with the power and might of He who is the Almighty One, speaking to each other in psalms and songs of praise and spiritual songs, singing and striking the strings in your heart to the Master, demonstrating the sounds of unity, O Yashar'al. It goes on to say, giving thanks always for all to the Almighty One, the Father, in the name of our Master Yahusha Messiah, subjecting yourselves to each other in fear of the Almighty One. The literal in this passage is talking about a relationship between a husband and a wife. That's the initial message in this passage, talking about a husband and a wife's relationship. But I say to you, to receive more in discerning this teaching, it goes beyond. Do not the scriptures speak of the children, the set-apart children of Yahuah, as being the bride of Yahusha? So it speaks about the bride's relationship with Yahusha as the husband. Do not the scriptures tell us we are to be as He is in terms of walking in set-apartness? Let us fear He who is the Almighty One. Let us give thanks through Yahusha HaMashiach. Are we not aware that the scriptures say if He's lifted up, He will draw all men? That is Yahusha. And we lift Him up by our worship and obedience. For He is the mediator before He who is the Almighty One, Yahuah, who is Spirit everywhere at all times. His word is that mediator. His word, Yahusha, links that. No Trinity. I cannot emphasize enough. No Trinity, my brothers and sisters. Let me continue. Come with me to Proverbs 27:17. Proverbs 27:17 say, iron is sharpened by iron, and a man sharpens the face of his friend. Being like iron sharpening iron are two like minds. Are we in a fellowship, a group? Are we with someone? Do we provide one towards another strength and growing in maturity? Do we learn that teachings can come through the Mashiach working in the brother, sister, one towards another? If this is not happening, if we are not as iron sharpening iron, then somewhere we are not like metals. Say iron sharpening iron mean like metals. Somewhere we are not alike. And maybe one just want to have a heads up over you. Wrong intent. It might be the ego shifters and passers. It may be the wicked. Some knowingly, some unknowingly. Let us make sure as we grow, as we work and pursue maturity, that we are as iron sharpen iron. Otherwise, we may find ourselves out of place. 1 Timothy 6:2 says, and they that have believing masters, let them not despise them, because they are brethren, but rather do to them service, because they are faithful and beloved partakers of the benefit. These things teach and exhort. believing masters, those who are able to discern. Don't be jealous. Don't be despiseful. Whether it be a teacher, a moray, a pastor, community head, or deacon that is walking in obedience. Those that are not, it's a different story, and they have their rewards coming, my brothers and sisters. Some who are indeed our brothers will face the discipline and correction. Some will be removed and face death. Widespread death is coming, and some will just be left as the set-apart, obedient ones come away from them. The days of coming away from compromising camps, teachings, practices, and fellowships are coming, my brothers and sisters. And as you find yourselves, we find ourselves coming away from erroneous fellowships or groups or camps or communities, we will find ourselves identifying with the Spirit of Yahusha working in us and Him drawing us together in community and fellowship. But if we hang on to compromising camps and communities, we miss not being where we're supposed to be. Examine and discern teachings to determine whether you're in the right place or not, O Yashar'al. 2 Timothy 4:2, come with me there. It says, preach the word. Be instant in season, out of season, reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long-suffering and doctrine. There are people that say, well, let's not get into doctrine. Doctrine means teachings. We are Israelites. Let's not get hung up on doctrine. The teachings are what sharpens Yashar'al, what brings us together, which contributes towards unity, which contributes to us growing in obedience. Exhorting one another is acknowledging that the Spirit of Yahusha is working in us, through us, one towards another. Reprove and rebuke. Identify what's wrong. Don't just yield to it. Don't just be quiet. Sometimes it's necessary for open rebuke and reproof, and sometimes there's a process where you go to that one brother or sister. If they don't get it, then go to two or more. If not, go before leadership and then before the congregation or the fellowship. But sometimes there will be the need for open rebuke. Consider the Mashiach. He openly rebuked Peter when he chopped off the ear of a centurion. There was a time when the Mashiach, Yahusha, told Peter, get thee behind me, Satan, identifying the action that took place, bringing reproof to Peter, who later was exhorted for yielding to what is righteous. Yashar'al, there's so much work to be done. There's so many details. There's so many things that we're going to find ourselves going through to bring us to that point of unity, to bring us to that point where we are a reflection of the ways of Yahuwah, unequivocally, without doubt. And I want to say this, Yashar'al. Right now, we have not witnessed widespread, severe discipline, like when the ground opened up and swallowed Dathan, Abiram, and Korah, who fought against the leadership that Yahuwah had established. We have not witnessed fire coming down and consuming someone that's trying to do harm to a leader or a prophet of Yahuwah. We have not witnessed the power and might of Yahuwah's discipline, where it is so obvious we know it's the Almighty Father. We have not come to attach earthquakes and storms, famine and pestilence and disease, ordered by leadership chosen by Yahuwah. Right now there's a race, talking about famine and pestilence, and earthquakes and tsunami. Right now there's a race to say all these things are natural phenomena, with no regards to what the Almighty Father Yahuah have to say about it, with no regards that he indeed has the cloak of protection, that he removes such that things happen, that he orders our footsteps with no regard. People are blatantly telling you that they spoke to him and he told them this and he told them that. Yashar'al, Yashar'al. When the severity of Yahuwah's power began to be magnified, people will die. People will drop dead. People will face extreme weaknesses to strengthen them, those that are set apart. These words are to you who pursue the will of the Almighty Father. I'm not speaking of the wicked. They have their appointed judgment. I'm speaking to the child, the set-apart child of Yahuwah, going through discipline to be refined as the Almighty Father demands. Soon, we will see power associated with the chosen leaders. And soon and very soon, we will see the two witnesses mentioned in Revelation's 11th chapter. And many people will be surprised that their message, their prophecies are to the children of Yahuwah. Many people look at them as coming just to exact vengeance and wrath. Their message, their actions, is to strengthen those who serve and worship the Almighty Father, knowing that he's fulfilling his promises regarding discipline, vengeance, wrath, and so much more. Their message, and many got it wrong. They're coming as the last two shepherds before the physical return of Yahusha Mashiach to make things right, to reinforce the unity that will be established in these final days. The 144,000 will soon rise up with no doubt to who they are. The great multitude will rise up, and we will see a coming together. Yashar'al, oh Yashar'al, examine and discern all teachings. Stay tuned. Details and processes will become clear to the discerning and obedient. Discover ways to get connected and involved. Know this, O Yashar'al, the Almighty Father is not slack concerning his promises. And we will witness what is expected in the days ahead. I ask the question to you. Oh, listen to these words. Are you my brother? Are you my sister? Why don't we communicate? Why aren't we responding to one another as iron sharpening iron? The answer the Almighty Father knows. Prepare to witness Abba Yahuwah's response. His answer. Prepare to witness it come in the name of Yahusha. On that note, thanks for your patience, your tolerance. I pray that you're able to receive and understand these words, understand the importance of examining and discerning teachings, understanding that correction is coming, and be prepared, my brother, my sister, for there are some that will not be with us in the coming days ahead. For that sake, I could be among those removed. But as it stands right now, I am compelled to believe that I will be a contributor to the coming together of Yashar'al in the Western Hemisphere to move to the Promised Land. A contributor towards leadership as a shepherd as it relates to the final Exodus. Pray and watch, O Yashar'al, for the Almighty Father will indeed guide our steps. On that note, I say to you, be encouraged. My prayer is that each of us grow in discernment. Shalum. Shalom, my brother, my sister, my family. Shalom.